The world came to know these gentle giants through the work of Dian Fossey and the film Gorillas in the Mist. National Geographic joined together with Earth Search Sciences and the Dian Fossey Fund in an historic effort to use hyperspectral imaging technology to study and protect the last wild habitat of the mountain gorillas in Rwanda. Due to the recent war and tragic genocide, the Volcanoes National Park has been closed for 2 years, leaving the fate of the gorillas in question. Scientists from the Dian Fossey Fund were eager to return and establish a baseline in the park.
Welcome to Kigali.
Hey, Dieter!
Barry Vance, I presume?
In order to protect the gorillas and ensure their survival, scientists first needed to gather critical information about the gorillas and their habitat. Earth Search Sciences first developed this new technology for mineral exploration and environmental monitoring.
Right now we've got 18...
Now, Earth Search Sciences offers it to help scientists save the last wild mountain gorillas and their habitat.
National Geographic helped to fund this expedition by Earth Search, and what was extraordinary is that an aerial survey of this kind is something that's never before been achieved in that part of the world. There has been satellite imagery mapping done before, but this was the first comprehensive mapping of the park. So bringing Earth Search over there, utilizing the probe to do this hyperspectral imaging, was a real first for Africa. This imagery and this scientific mission is extraordinarily important for these gorillas. I think it's going to open up a whole new era in conservation, not just for gorillas, but for many, many other endangered species around the planet. It's quite clear that in order to save these endangered animals, you have to save their habitats.
Just don't get directly in his path, because he might run right over you.
This last mission was really exciting. We got to go into the forest and identify the particular plant species that the gorillas focus their attention on because we were trying to quantify how much of this plant food exists in the park and ultimately how many gorillas can survive in this tiny little park in Africa.
This technology was originally developed by the military and the and government labs. It was a 30-meter resolution. The improvements that we've made on it for commercial uses is almost 20, 30 times better. We've been about 14 years developing a commercial use for the technology and have, within the last 2 years, developed an instrument that is now being accepted by the world scientific community as being an exceptional instrument. Earth Search Sciences has proven that this data, without doubt, is an effective tool for the scientific community. It's never been done before.
Spectacular stuff. Nettles galore. Absolutely spectacular. I think that what's important about this technology is that we can, for the first time, identify the actual principal foods that are important to the gorillas, because we can, with this technology, focus on particular or individual species of plant foods. Not only identify the individual plant species, but also the health of plant species. This is something you cannot do with conventional remote sensing technology. You could do it by simply going into the forest and counting every plant that you see, but you can imagine how long that would take you. It simply isn't possible to do that in any sort of realistic way. So this technology allows you to do this relatively quickly.
Satellite imagery is imagery that's taken from, obviously, satellites from space, and they can't penetrate the cloud cover that covers the Virunga region. What we were able to do is fly under the clouds and take imagery under the clouds, so that's unique.
Volcanoes National Park is a great microcosm of what's happening all over the world. Human encroachment, the loss of natural resources, natural and also human-based phenomena like wars is rapidly destroying their habitats. And so this is a wonderful way to get in there and to see over a period of time to be able to compare and contrast what's happening with these habitats. And I think it's an extraordinary tool.
This valuable information will also be useful in rebuilding the devastated country and helping build other developing countries throughout Africa.
All of the countries in the region, but perhaps Rwanda particularly, in recovering from a war and a devastating genocide, is in the process of rebuilding. And they have no baseline information. So when they're looking at where to build housing, where to start agricultural projects, where is there a lot of erosion occurring, where are the major water sources, mineral sources, we would like to see a countrywide survey that includes the national parks so that they will have powerful planning tools. And I think funding agencies should see that as a major opportunity, because instead of it being random, it will have a plan. And then they can follow it through.
This information, in our estimation, will affect just about everything we do on the planet within about 10 years.
The National Geographic camera crew spent several weeks in Africa photographing the gorillas with the Dian Fossey team and the Earth Search scientists. Special aerial cameras were mounted on the plane, giving a stunning view as the probe flew over the gorillas' mountain habitat.
I have done a lot of documentaries before and have been very up close observing animals, but the gorillas are so special.
Okima.
What's so amazing about the mountain gorillas is that they share more than 98% of our genetic material. And so to be so close with creatures that are so human-like, it really is extraordinary. It's life-altering in many respects.
These are our old friends, and when we go back, they do recognize you. You're not treated as a stranger. You're treated as someone they know, and that's a good feeling.
You see how closely related we are. Just the way they look at you with their eyes with this incredible intelligence. It really is moving.
This is where technology can perhaps make a difference between the extinction of a species and the survival of a species. It's a shining moment, you might say, for technology, and we're happy to be on that cutting edge of it.
An introduction to hyperspectral imaging and the Probe 1. Hyperspectral technology was first developed by the U.S. government for military applications and used in spy planes like the U-2 and ER-2. Earth Search Sciences took advantage of a technology transfer program by NASA and commercialized the technology for mineral exploration and environmental research. A hyperspectral instrument is mounted on an aircraft and flown over a target area. This creates a long swath-like image.
You have to turn around now. We'll head back and get the other two.
Earth Search Sciences developed an improved instrument called the Probe 1. Unlike a conventional camera that takes pictures using 3 colors, red, green, and blue, the probe records over 128 bands of light for every pixel in the image. That's why it's called hyperspectral. This is important because scientists have already learned how to match the reflected patterns of light to various minerals and chemicals. These reflectance patterns can reveal many things about the ground, rivers, vegetation, and anything else in the image. After the data has been collected by Probe 1, the next step is to analyze the images. Scientists can look for minerals on the ground, detect contaminants, or identify specific species of plants. Hyperspectral images can even reveal the health of the plants.
This image here is of the Volcano National Park in Rwanda, where the gorilla habitat lies. Over here on the left we see one flight line that was taken over the Volcano National Park in Rwanda, where the gorilla habitat lies. And then at the top here, this area bounded by this red box is displayed at full resolution in this scene over here on the right. What we can pick out is this top of the volcano, one of the volcanoes. This is the summit crater, and then coming down from the crater rim here we have the very steep slopes of the volcano and drainages, river systems coming down off the volcano down to the lowlands below, down into the jungle. We get more heavily forested with trees down here at the lower elevation, and as we go up to the high alpine zones up near the top of the volcano, the vegetation is more shrub-like, a lot of mosses and some lichens. So we can identify trees with these imagery. In fact, we can see individual trees. In particular, you might be able to notice that down here. Individual trees and small clusters, and definitely details of the drainage systems. So we're able to pull out some spectra from individual trees and work with those to try and look for other similar species of trees elsewhere in the park. The idea is to process the data and pull out different habitats, different plants that the gorillas use for food. So by monitoring that and assessing how much of the habitat is available for the gorillas, we can get an idea of the carrying capacity. How many gorillas can this park support?
Mounting the instrument on a light aircraft makes it more affordable to use and easier to collect data from specific targets on demand. This economy allows Earth Search Sciences to accomplish its goal to map the globe and make this valuable information available via the Internet. The Yellowstone Mission. Earth Search Sciences joined Yellowstone biologists in a recent mission to study riparian issues in the Northeast Yellowstone Park. They also studied the long-term effects of the Yellowstone fire on the area. The mission gained national attention in science journals and in the New York Times. An historic first was accomplished when the Earth Search team successfully collected the world's first 1-meter resolution hyperspectral image data.
They came to us, asked us if we could get better resolution. We flew 5 and 10 meter resolution for them. They were excited about it. And then we decided to try to experiment with 1 meter resolution and maybe sub-meter pixel resolution. Started yesterday for the very first time. Historically, it's never been done before. To our knowledge, not even by the military.
The Probe 1 instrument was mounted on a helicopter for lower altitude flights using a special camera mount made for motion picture aerial photography.
We expect that 1 meter data will become the new standard. It doesn't mean that we'll stop using 30 meter data or 10 or 5. It means that we now have a refined tool for a scientist to collect precision data and make better informed decisions.
Ecosystem management requires data over large spatial areas like ecosystems, and that's what remote sensing can provide. But what's really unique about hyperspectral remote sensing technology is at the same time you can cover large areas, you can get a lot of new detailed information on many ecosystem components and processes at the same time.
In terms of the hyperspectral qualities of the research, this would be very useful for modeling the spread of fires, so that when decisions are being made, they can at least have a good fuels map to be able to model that portion of the fire spread, and that would be very helpful.
Where everything was done on foot and very laborious. Remember, the park has no motorized travel of any kind. So it's either walk by foot or horseback into the park to do these studies, and it's real time consuming. Whereas in just a matter of minutes we can fly a flight line and have data that might take you several years to collect.
Quick turnaround is a really big step forward for research. We had an unprecedented, unheard of turnaround time. So the helicopter or the platform lands, the tape is transferred, it's pre-processed, we create images, and we go out in the field within 24 hours and even within 6 hours and are able to map directly to the images. So it's kind of like real-time science. And in doing that, you can eliminate all kinds of biases, and you can learn so much more about the system you're trying to understand.
We're able to spot diseased trees, dead trees, and when you map all of that, it gives the scientists a much better perspective of the health of the forest.
High spatial resolution, that is small pixels, literally aerial photographs is what it looks like, with up to 128 different bands of information at each pixel, is really allowing us to look at a bunch of things that we didn't even know were there. So it's taking that and matching it to real-world problems, identifying interesting components like, large woody debris, water depth, identifying a species like willow that has never really been attempted before.
The image on the right is a natural color rendition of this scene just outside of Yellowstone. The image on the left displays 3 additional wavelengths of the 128 that the probe 1 measures. So with that 128 spectral channels, we get a lot more information. It will derive a lot more information from the data. On the left image here, near the top, we see an area of mining activity that was going on many years ago. And this is mining activity just outside the park. And we're getting some of the high alpine areas here. This is over 10,000, 11,000 feet, so there's not much vegetation around here. So one of the things to look at is to see if there is any acid mine drainage or tailings flowing down these drainage systems down towards the park. These different colors here indicate different kinds of rock types. So it might be that this green unit here that looks like it's coming down the stream is related to these rock types that we see up above in higher elevations.
To request specific imagery or to inquire about scheduling a data collection mission to a specific target area, contact Earth Search Sciences. Call 1-208-634-7080. On the internet, go to www.earthsearch.com or send email to info@earthsearch.com. Earth Search Sciences teamed up with the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund for the expedition to Rwanda. The Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund is the principal organization working to save the wild mountain gorillas and their habitat in Africa. The expedition was led by Dr. Dieter Steklus and his wife Netzine, who have been studying the gorillas in Volcano National Park for over 10 years. You can support the Gorilla Fund and help save the gorillas by adopting a wild mountain gorilla. Contact the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund. For more information, call 1-800-851-0203 or visit them on the internet at www.gorillafund.org. Contact Earth Search Sciences. Call 1-208-634-7080. On the internet, go to www.earthsearch.com or send email to info@earthsearch.com.